Welcome back and thank you for staying with us on Daybreak Extra. As usual, I'm not alone. I'm joined by my beautiful co-host, Fatima Ahmed Musa.
Okay, so I know I don't have to say my name.
No,
Thank
you
you
can
so
say
much.
it's like say my name, you know. So you
Okay,
just
now Sumaya is in the mood this morning, I guess, but I don't have to say my name because you've already said it. And thank you so much for joining us, Nigerians. Yeah, I heard you talking about a lot happening on social media, people coming out in different colors and all. So
indeed,
it was actually nice to see that.
It is nice, and I'm super excited.
All the stress and whatever going on, at least people tend to have some certain things away from the stressful activities going on in Nigeria so far. It's just
stressful
too
activity.
much.
Talking about the intended protests
coming up and a lot, yeah.
So it's good to have
a lot of sagas on the social media as well. So
we cannot really wait to dissect
Definitely.
that. But let's quickly take a look at the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, where we know it's the Weekend Trust, and major in-depth story is on the Dangote saga, with of course the petroleum bodies and oil bodies in Nigeria, the untold story. How federal government contemplated ban on diesel, crude swap deal impairs the NNPCL's feedstock supply to refinery. Now, this story, of course, it's one major one that you'd find on the Daily Trust, the newspaper there. Below the major story, after gulping about 2.5 billion naira, Kano's mass transit buses left to waste. A really disheartening situation. Now, while we are quick to jump to say, okay, this is happening in Kano, it happened in the FCT first. I mean, during the period of Nasser El-Rufai as the minister of the FCT, there was buses. Fatima, we saw buses, in the nation's capital, and people were, using it, and it was so easy and cheaper for citizens. But then immediately he left. Everything just stopped, and the buses were left in parks to rot to rust. And these are things where sometimes you don't blame some countries, like say in US we see the Democratic Party saying, if I leave office, if anybody is coming in, and if especially you're in the Democratic Party, then you have to continue with what is on the table. That gives this, consistency and continuity. And for me, even though, my beliefs is not with the Democratic, but it's just an example. I feel the government in Nigeria should have, or not the government, I feel Constitution should have that, saying, if you come in, whatever you see, as long as it's not bad, you have to, continue on that path.
Yeah, so the thing is, when you're making arrangement, or you have projects, and it's going to have something to do with buses or transit, let's say, you should be also making budgets to maintain them. It's not just about getting them because they are new. You think as time goes by, they will not crash or they will not break down and all that, because they are irons, right? So you need to find ways to maintain them. And that's what's happening with the buses here in Abuja that you mentioned, and the one in Kano that you just mentioned also, because maintenance is missing, is lacking in some part of it. But then, some of the drivers or some of the people actually managing this transport system tend to do a little bit, at least from their own side, to see that they make the whole thing easy for people to, have access to buses, that it will lessen the cost of transportation.
If there is one thing we know, right, is that when it comes to transport business, it moves in Nigeria. So we cannot, and Kano is one of the biggest cities, so we know it will move, and from the income being made or revenue, it can be used to do maintenance, and then it will create revenue, that's internal, generated revenue for the state. So this is something that should work. But then most times there is this belief that anything that that is done by the government cannot really be maintained. We've seen all of that. We've seen textile industry.
Not so, because you mentioned if anyone comes in and they see certain things, they should continue with the project that they made. But then everyone comes with their own manifesto, their own plan that they want to. That's why you see certain roads up until this moment are not fixed, because this government will come and they want to start from this place or that place.
I think that's what we should be pushing for. the constitution should be amended for that continuity. Whatever party you come from, as long as you're meeting something there that is working, then you have
just
to
continue the project, before you can plan your own.
That should work. So you find that story on page 11. And next time, I will prefer to be born a Namibian, not Nigerian. That's the former Army Chief General Ishola Williams, retired. Now, the general must have seen something from the front, line of the war. But then, come on now, we are really proud to be Nigerians. We are proud to be Nigerians. This you find on page 23. Even though Nigeria is known to be a populous country, we know we can even do better. In Africa, we know we can do better globally. So, I wouldn't change being Nigerian for the world. But these are some of the stories that you find on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
Okay, let's quickly take a look at Punch. And the major story there says, hardship protest. Organizers there, FG, insist on August rallies. And nobody in the world can stop us, says the Northern Group. IG claims foreign infiltration. Youth accuses DSS of freezing accounts. Shelve your demonstration. Tantita boss Tompolo begs organizers. So you can go through that story on page 8. Well, so there's a lot happening. Yesterday we had that conversation of the implications of the protest, if at all it happens, and we're actually hearing some rumors on social media that the initiator has backed out, but we don't really know what the truth is for now. But then the Northern Group is also supporting the NLC, and the TUC came out to say that no one has reached out to them to say they want to participate, or they want them to participate in the protest, and also they are not part of it, and they don't even know who are the organizers, so that's the problem. Know the faces of the organizers so you can know who to hold accountable when anything happens.
In the constitution, there should be leader, in protest. There's two ways to look at it. We saw how the 2020 NSAS ended, and lots of the organizers had to leave the country because it turned bloody, and they, there was a witch hunt on them. There were people looking for them. So a lot of them are out of the country. Hence, I feel the reason why the organizers of this one don't want to show themselves in order to protect themselves for future blames and all of that. But protest cannot be done without a leader because it makes it more responsible. It makes it more
but we need to know who are the organizers. August is just
and
by
what are
the corner
plans for you to make it
peaceful. So the August is just by the corner. We need to know the faces of those that want to be that are organizing this protest, so in case if anything happens, we know who to reach out to, because it's a different thing, because a lot of alerts coming out here and there saying that there are some plans to hijack, just like what happened during the NSAS, and we wouldn't want that same saga to repeat itself again. So go through page 4 for more details on that. And then we have 4 queues resurfaced in Abuja, Ogun. Orders as ministers beg for calm. Well, this is another thing. This is just what we are talking about, is the hardship. And then with the inflation and what have you, and then fuel scarcity again, queues coming back. This is just too tough and too stressful.
It is much. As much as, of course, we don't want protests to happen, because it means that people have been really pushed to the wall for them to say we are coming out and mass protest. So we don't really want it. And if for anybody that will say I don't want protests to happen, it's because we want to be in a place where we say our country is amazing. If it's good, nobody would come out to protest, right? So we hope that the government gives reasons to
a lot of the politicians coming out to say that at least 1 year is too short, sort of, to fix some of the problems that this administration met on seat. Because if you look back from during Obasanjo period to Jonathan to Eradua and the rest up until this moment, there has always been one problem or the other, and there are some inherited problems that just has refused to go away.
Corruption,
exactly. So that is where where the problem is. You have to know the root cause before you can find solution to certain things. So I think that is people should understand that there are certain problems that whosoever is on seat is going to face similar challenges. You know, so that's just it. So well, go through page 15 for, you know, the story on the fuel queue. And then while we disguise as alphas, pastors seeking to seek spiritual protection. Yahoo boys, wow.
Oh, they disguise as alphas and pastors.
To seek spiritual protection. Well, does it work for them?
If you're stealing from people, you're not going to get any spiritual protection. There is none.
You're disguising. You don't have the spirituality that, you know, the pure...
Your faith is gone.
Exactly.
For you to, listen, I know we tend to justify the whole thing by calling it Yahoo, but it is stealing. You are a horrible person.
Yeah.
If you're sitting
defrauding
down,
people
yourself
working
and
for
allowing somebody to work, like somebody will spend 30 years of their life working hard to get money. It doesn't matter if that person is in governance or a business, and then later on you come in one day and sweep away, you know,
their
lifelong.
You know, that's why if I go through stories and, you know, my discussion with the EFCC media aide, if you look at it, and he talked about the certain ways that the scammers go as far as, you know, scamming people and all. And then he talked about impersonation, which I feel this is what they are doing. And then he said the romance, there's the romance scam, you know, where you disguise as someone or you love
prince.
You know,
I don't know why
a lot of the older ones are the ones that are always falling victims. You need to see the faces of these old people that have worked all their lives. There's a lady that said she sold her house and she transferred $300,000 to a guy in Nigeria that was caught
for romance scam.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
they meet vulnerable people that truly want love, you know, for the romance scam. Yeah. There is no excuse. Absolutely no excuse. You're a thief. You're horrible. And you should not even put your name close to spirituality. And we hope that the younger generation, you know, send this to trash and not emulate something like that.
Yeah, so go through page 20 and 21 for more details on that. Behold, Nollywood's queens of YouTube. This is Macy Johnson and what's her name? Bimbo.
Yeah, saying...
They are the queens of YouTube, the Nollywood queens.
Bimbo Ademoye.
Of YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing
Macy Johnson.
Yeah, one thing that...
You know, they are funny character, just like Funke, the Bimbo,
exactly.
you know, and then Macy.
Funny. Comedy in Nigeria always, you know, makes headway because, I mean, there's a lot going on, so we need to laugh at something.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. Yes, these two amazing actresses are versatile, and that's what makes you an actor. You can play basically every role, and it's good. You know, I wish we could sit down and talk to, you know, maybe someone like Alinu who talk about the diverse thoughts of film industry on how they're thinking on creating more ways, because right now people watch movie more on Streamline, so it's good to see them good to see Nigerian producers making use of the YouTube platform to, you know, put their movies out there and make some money out of it. It's really good. We're giving them kudos for that.
Well, yeah.
We need more.
You know, it's good to see that women are doing something, you know, especially not being idle. And so, yeah, go through page 16 for more details on that. And as you were talking, I was just reading out some of the stories. You know, this issue of the building collapse. Lagos ban overnight sleeping at construction sites after 5 died in building collapse. Again, you know, this is something that has been ongoing. Just a couple of days ago, there was a building collapse again in at Lokogoma, and then there was another one again, in Lagos, which is this one that the president of the Builders Association was talking about it. Well, it's a sad one. I think it's time for people to stop sleeping at the construction site. But the reason is because they are scared that their things will get missing, to be stolen overnight. So someone has to be there to watch over it, and that's where the problem is.
But you know how horrible it is that you're in the process of building a house. It has not even finished and it's collapsing. Something is wrong.
And
I see it too is you know, the experts are talking about we keep advocating, saying if there is any development going on, it should be in-house. That's what we're even supporting Dangote refinery,
that's
our very own thing,
That's why they are talking about, not getting a quack, an architect or, builders to come and build for you.
Now, this is not speaking well. If we're pushing and advocating, government should employ more Nigerian engineers, Nigerian architects, Nigerians, and then we are getting a bit of weak, structures that cost lives.
That's because
it doesn't even make sense.
So the thing is, right, if you want to build, you have a land you want to build and you call a builder, I feel you should ask for their license to make sure that they have what it takes to build in the first place. Because there are a lot of people that just feel, oh, I can do a hand job. And then maybe they just go to the side and they just learn one or two things and they feel, oh, I'm a builder. Yeah, I can do this now. I don't have to go to school. That's the phrase. So
I think people have been getting away with that. We've seen how our medical system has even
definitely. I think in every sector you definitely find someone that is a quack.
I told you in some primary healthcare, I've seen cleaners recommending or prescribing drugs for you to take because they feel, oh, I've seen it.
I've been in this place too long to know this.
Not knowing there has to be a qualification to back it up. And I think things like this have been, people have been getting away with it for the longest time. Nigerians keep talking about these things, especially Lagos and the FCT. We've seen building collapse in Abuja and Lagos State multiple times, just from last year to this year. And I think it's high time that organizations or agencies, bodies put in place to take care of this, take charge and start visiting house to house, like public places especially, to make sure that it's up to par or hold people accountable.
Well, there you have it. Sumaya has said it, she's the analyst right now. So go through page 6 for more details on that. I can only forgive a cheating husband once. Destiny Amala. Well, I was reading that too, and I was wondering, okay, once, fair enough.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't know. I don't have a say on it.
The problem is, sometimes I tend to wonder why people actually cheat. What's the push behind it? But then it doesn't work for a lot. It's going to be a cool discussion. We should be. But we've done that actually, except you've forgotten. But then we can. It's something that we can still revisit because it's an ongoing thing. You know? When we talked about the rate of divorce and all that, and when people called in to say some is cheating, some is this and lack of understanding.
But basically, there was one Islamic cleric that I watched, and he was talking about cheating. He says one of the things that as a father you're supposed to do if your child wants to marry, especially a girl child, you have to make sure when they say a man is entitled to 4 wives in Islam, does not mean a man is supposed to, be roaming about and being careless and indisciplined. So if you know a man is doing that, and even if after your girl child is married to that person, he's not responsible, and because there is that fear that he might bring disease to her, there is that irresponsibility in him, because a man needs to be disciplined to be fully responsible for a family. So you can, take your daughter away from that person. So cheating, in that regard, of course, it's horrible.
I saw this online, and a lot of people, some comments I was reading while I was coming is when you're not getting the attention you deserve from your partner, that also leads to cheating. When you're not getting peace of mind, that also leads to. There are a lot of things that actually that pushes people
just enter marriage and make it work.
Well, go through page 17 for more details on that. And then my mother's medical profession influenced my career choice. UI best graduating student. Well, that's a good one. You can go through page 28 for more details on that. And then Oshun herbalist kill Ghanaian for ritual, blames devil. Well, I don't know how you carry out an activity and then you come and say it's the devil. So
it's already
but then a lot of people actually commit crimes and they say, oh, I just heard whispers in my head. Something just told me to do
that one is demonic. That one is demons chasing you. But then one thing I would always remember while we were kids is when we say our parents would always tell us, if we do things and you say it's the devil, well, guess what? When we go to heaven, the afterlife, the devil will be like, did you see me? Did I tell you anything?
Exactly. So don't put it on me. Exactly. Because everyone has you know, you have a good and a bad side. So don't always push everything. You know, during fasting period, they say that what if you are still behaving or doing bad things, you have always been the bad one, not the devil, because that is when you know.
It's a choice.
That is when you know what you are doing and what the devil is doing, because the devil is not there to do that for you anymore. So yeah, go through page 30 for more details on that. And then court jails 125 Boko Haram terrorists and financiers. Well, that's a good one, you know, see that they have gotten the financiers of, you know, this terrorism and all. Yeah, so go through page 27 for more details.
Honestly, on that. I don't know if I'll get called out for this, but I feel, even though now we are doing the whole pro-life, you know, don't kill people kind of thing, but people that have killed massively, you know, like sponsoring terrorism, I feel should get capital sentence. Honestly, like capital.
Yeah, once you're caught, I definitely.
That's
once
what
you're
I
caught,
feel.
Why not?
Sentencing you to life imprisonment is not really cool for me. But anyways, let's move on to the Guardian and newspaper this morning. From the top of the page, we see Tompolo implores Nigerians to shelve proposed nationwide protest. Yeah, a lot of people have been coming out to say Nigerians should, you know, not protest, instead opt for dialogue, and all of that. So yeah, a lot of people have been calling.
Well, I just feel, yes, I feel, you know, just like the NLC did when they came out to protest for the increase of the minimum wage, and then once you're consistent, I'm sure you get what you want. But you know, I've always said that protest is not actually the way to go, because the fear of people losing lives and properties is my number one
talking
problem,
about that. So I saw
so that is the major problem
happening, I think, in Bangladesh, if I'm not mistaken, and people came en masse to protest, and it erupted, turned into something else.
Exactly, because there will always be people hijacking.
People are blaming government are blaming opposition party, and it got chaotic. About 150 citizens so far lost their life in Bangladesh. Exactly. A lot of people are injured, and almost, as they said, over 200 people arrested. So things like this is something, you know, the reasons why they tend to be fear of how it started. They always say protest starts peacefully.
But you never know what happens. The problem is when there's a gathering, there'll always be something wrong.
Yeah. Imagine you go to weddings and there's always somebody trying to pick a pocket of someone.
Something always happens. You know, something gets missing. Yeah. Always. You know, that's like there's a spiritual thing.
We just hope it never gets there. We just hope it never gets there. Nobody is saying Nigerians are not of the right to come out to protest, because yes, there is hunger in the land. The president have accepted that. The governance of Nigeria have said, we know you're hungry, but please give us more time. If there is a better way for dialogue, I think now the government, just the efforts of Nigerians saying we are coming out to protest, I think the government are taking Nigerians seriously now, and I feel like there will be more room for open dialogue now.
Well, I saw something like the IGP has okayed for the protest.
For the protest, yeah. You know, people have been coming, because we saw a bit of police comments talking about you cannot go on protest.
Yeah. Well, you know, so it's just that they are saying that they won't condone. They won't condone any lives and properties lost. You know, but then if you want to protest, no one is stopping you. It's your right. You know, we know that it's once there's democracy,
on the protest, then the government have to talk and make sure all the security agents are out there to protect the protesters and, of course, properties in the country. Yeah. So moving on from that, says how uncertainty strikes undermine Nigeria's educational system. That's according to Professor Olayinka, talking about the education system. Honestly, if we're going deep dive into it, we still have a huge, long way to go. Major story on The Guardian is saying why new babies' access to exclusive breastfeeding remains poor. The mother has to eat before she feeds the child. Exclusive breastfeeding takes a chunk load of energy, food, nutrition, and even way back when there is, poor people could eat, it was still difficult to have a nourished mother that could breastfeed a child exclusively for 6 months. But
because
now,
she needs certain food to make her healthy, for her to get the milk that she can also feed her child.
Sucks, the boobies for it's I think it's even more than, it could be more than 50 times a day. Depends, especially from the infant, the first 6 months. So has to take a lot.
She's the one eating most of it because she has to breastfeed. So if there is no with the inflation, food crisis, that everything is expensive. Imagine a poor family that cannot afford to do that. So definitely, what else would you see if not malnourished children?
Exactly. So I don't think parents can even do that 6 months exclusive in Nigeria currently, honestly.
Well, they have to at the end of the day for the sake of the baby. So because they are the ones feeding, so they have to find a way as adults.
That is horrible. It's a very, it's truth facing us in our faces, but it's horrible. Please, government, do something. Do something. Away from that, Nigeria, China, CNBM explore partnership on Evergreen City project. You find that on page 3. Court convicts 125 Boko Haram terrorists and financiers in mass trial. At the belt there, it says time to grab opportunities in livestock noise. That you'd find on, of course, the Guardian and newspaper. Yes, amazing opportunities are on this livestock noise, and I can always honestly to see how it started from, the livestock agency that is being that just started by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Would have to wait and see how that pan out, because I know at this point that even when it comes to exportation, when we're talking about this, since we already have livestock, I feel we can export that also to other countries. We have cows, sheep, chickens, and all of that, and still it will help our farmers, and it will also help the Nigerian economy. Well, basically, these are the stories that we'll pick. These are the newspapers that we'll pick. There's a lot of things happening on the front pages of our newspapers in our nation. So go ahead, read it. Do not forget, of course, I always say this. You have to equip yourself with knowledge in order to have a smart conversation, for you to know your rights and, when to push back and when to stop. Knowledge is really key. So go ahead and read front pages of the national dailies. Let's take a break, and when we come back, it will be time for us to open the phone line to hear from you. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.